Chris Jones has taken the social media yet again as he is messing with Chiefs Kingdom's emotions. Today we'll discuss his cryptic post, but also Deanna Rosini has given us an update on the standpoint between Chris Jones and the Kansas City Chiefs. And it wouldn't be a training camp video if we didn't discuss Justyn Ross just a little bit. So we'll discuss and see how he won't just make the 53-man roster, but how he will impact the Kansas City Chiefs going into next season. With that, let's cut the chit chat and let's have some fun. Now, before we do dive into all of this craziness that is surrounding Chris Jones, the Kansas City Chiefs still hit the practice field, so we got a lot to discuss that doesn't involve Chris Jones. And let's touch on the injury report just a little bit more because there was two names that are new to the list, and it was Charles Omenihu and Reese Taylor. Now, Charles Omenihu, I believe they both actually had calf, and Reese Taylor hamstring injuries, and right now it just seems like something minor, but it's something that we need to monitor going throughout training camp. But on the positive side, yesterday we got back a defensive tackle, Tershawn Wharton. He was activated off the PUP, and that is a sight you love to see, and definitely crucial with how slim the Kansas City Chiefs defensive tackle room is looking right now. Tershawn Wharton, when healthy, is an excellent rotational defensive tackle in my eyes, and a presence the D-line needs moving forward. As the Kansas City Chiefs completed another practice today, one of my main takeaways from the last few days has been the defense, as they've been getting turnovers, but also they've been showing some physicality as well. And a lot of people have been highlighting Travis Kelce and quote-unquote anger issues and him wanting to get into boxing matches as the story and the headliner. But I've been taking something away from that more than just Travis Kelce being upset. And I kind of like the feistiness and the physicality the defense is bringing. Today, we saw a little glimpse of that as well. And these Cincinnati Bearcat boys, Brian Cook and Travis Kelce, they've been going back and forth throughout training camp. And this was another battle yet today where Travis Kelce made a catch, and then he was moving away from Brian Cook, and Brian Cook knocked the ball out of his hand. And you can see Travis Kelce wanted to react, but he's also probably heard it from coaches throughout training camp like, hey, simmer down a little bit. And one thing I really like about that is, one, you can see Travis Kelce, he can keep his cool, but we've already known that. But I love Brian Cook, and I love the DBs actually showing some physicality, showing some tenacity and some personality. It's something we're not used to seeing. And if you see that going into next year where, hey, we're going to be the ones making the show and making a name for us, and it won't be us depending on the offense, but we're going to be a 1B to their 1A. That's something that's going to be exciting to see next year. So yeah, you can headline Travis Kelce getting angry and all that, but I'm watching the guys like Brian Cook and all these DBs getting under these players' skins because that's what they're going to be doing on Sunday. And if they can frustrate offenses every Sunday, it's going to be a sight to see. I caved in. I give up. Justyn Ross looks like he's the real deal. And I know I said I wouldn't sign off on that until I see him in a preseason game. But Chiefs Kingdom, the Kansas City Chiefs accounts, just social media everywhere is making it damn near impossible to say he won't be on the 53-man roster. With the kind of hype and publicity that Justyn Ross is getting, he's even hitting the NFL's social media accounts. There's no way this dude won't be on the 53-man roster. Now, you got to raise it to the next level, and the next question is, what can he contribute for the Kansas City Chiefs going into next year? I'm not going to get that crazy and say he's going to be a wide receiver number one, but what I can mention is I do see him being productive next year, and that is way more farther than what I was going to take it a couple of weeks ago. A couple of weeks ago, I said he was going to struggle, well, not struggle, but fight for that roster spot. That's a completely different story now. It looks like it's signed, sealed, and delivered unless something happens in the preseason. Now I'm focusing on next year. And if he happens, let's say it's a slim package to start off. Let's say he gets like 10 snaps a game, and that may even be a lot as well. But if he can contribute a few big plays in, he will be treated like a real rookie in my eyes, I believe, where it's slowly bring him into the lineup, and then once November and December come along, he will be a real threat in this offense. Now, I even think that's too rich for my liking, but who am I to say nowadays? With how the Kansas City Chiefs are pushing him out there, it feels like he's going to be a presence in this offense moving into this year. So I'm on the hype train officially, but I'm not going to say he's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver, not 10 touchdowns, not Hall of Fame, but I do believe he can be productive if the Kansas City Chiefs use him. Now, the main topic of conversation today has been surrounded around Chris Jones and the whirlwind of basically everything going in each and every direction. And before we get into his cryptic post that he had on his Instagram story, Deanna Rossini was on the Pat McAfee show, and she gave us an update on the two sides. And basically, it's nothing like significant or moving in any which direction, but one thing that was noteworthy is that the Kansas City Chiefs are still very optimistic that they will get a deal done with Chris Jones before the season starts. And she believes it'll be 3 to 4 weeks into training camp. And kind of thinking about it right now, it's like, we're in week 2, so 3 or 4 weeks is next week. So maybe there will be movement going forward next week. But also she mentioned that Chris Jones, he wants big money. And the way she looked when she said he wants big money is like, okay, he wants big money. Where I think the reports are true where he may want to surpass Aaron Donald or be paid just as much as Aaron Donald, which nothing wrong with that. Like, at the end of the day, he deserves it. He played his ass off. He is played like the #1 defensive tackle in the league. So if he's wanting $30 million a year, or if he's wanting high guaranteed, you name it, what it may be, there's something holding it up, and that may be the case. And we know when it comes to Brett Veach, specifically in these kind of situations, I don't want to say Chris Jones is aging, but he is 29. And if you sign him to a 4-year deal, he'll be 33. And you know Brett Veach looks at that in whole. And does he want to be paying an aging defensive tackle at that point, at year 33, that kind of money? That could be your stand-up, or it could be guaranteed. I don't know. I'm not in the war room trying to hash all these deals out, but the fact that we now got real reports saying that Chris Jones may want that type of money makes complete sense now. But it's also great to hear that the Kansas City Chiefs are very optimistic that no matter what the price point is, they feel they can still get a deal done. But Chris Jones happened to take to social media and worry all the Chiefs Kingdom and have us all feeling differently, as on his story, he posted a song lyric saying, "All good things must come to an end." Yeah, that don't feel good whatsoever, because what could he be talking about? Now, in my perspective, we could keep being optimistic and he could just be talking about a thing in his life. And honestly, it's funny. In social media day and age, we always look at an NFL player and we take every single little tweet that they tweet about to football, when it could be about anything. Now, it could be still about football, and Chris Jones knows exactly what he is doing. But he knew that Chiefs Kingdom, I'm just going to play with you, or it could be the real deal. Who knows? At the end of the day, as I mentioned, in every video we talk about Chris Jones, he will be a Kansas City Chief next year. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't think the Kansas City Chiefs would trade him at this point. It's way too late in the game, and it just doesn't make sense. Why would you get draft picks now to help you for next year when you're trying to go back-to-back this year and you leave a massive hole on your defensive line? It just makes no sense whatsoever. So Chris Jones will be a part of the Kansas City Chiefs this year. But if they don't hash out a deal before week 1, it could be his last year, and the Kansas City Chiefs might trade him in the next offseason. But that's not something to worry about now. What is, let's hope they can get a deal done. If not, let's hope we can get him into camp, because sooner the better. Because no matter how good of a player you really are, if you keep missing camp, it's going to affect you early on in the season. We saw it with the likes of Orlando Brown Jr. I'm not going to compare them because athletically, they're both two different specimen and they both move differently. But I think it happens with every kind of athlete. You need to get in football shape. And yes, I know Chris Jones is out there training, but it's just different when you're in Andy Reid's training camps. We've heard it from every player. He makes sure you're ready beforehand. So I would love to see him get back into camp, and hopefully a deal gets done sooner rather than later. I'm still crossing my fingers it will happen. Chiefs Kingdom, you let me know down below. Are you ready just to move on from Chris Jones? I don't think we got to that point. Or does he need to sign, seal, deliver, be a Kansas City Chief for life? With that, I'm going to cut this video off. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you did like this video, please leave that big thumbs up. I'm taking off. Y'all take care. Peace.